After an extremely slow start to the transfer portal for Tennessee, they have been on fire this past week, including just an absolute fantastic Saturday to the transfer portal. Who did Tennessee get? Find out right here on the Vol Fanatics Sports Update. The Tennessee Nittany Vols is what they're being kind of called now due to the amount of commits that Tennessee has gotten on the defensive side of the ball, especially from Penn State, have just been absolutely on fire lately. As you know, it took 3 days before Tennessee finally got their first commit out of the transfer portal in Quay Moss, which was a big pickup, by the way. Tennessee now has 8 more commits out of the transfer portal, including a very late addition to the transfer portal class on Saturday. So going down the list of people Tennessee has gotten this past week, going to start on the offensive line with Ori Williams, the offensive tackle transfer from LSU, who comes to Tennessee with 3 years of eligibility remaining. He played in all 12 games this year, including getting 2 starts on the season. He is a 6'8", 335 redshirt freshman and looks to fill one of the tackle positions more than likely, moving Jesse Perry back into guard at this point. We'll see where Tennessee ends up using him, but definitely a position of need with some of the guys hitting the portal in the offseason. So Ori Williams from LSU. Uh, Another guy that we're going to talk about is Dwan Lane, who committed to Tennessee on Saturday. He is the safety from Penn State, comes to Tennessee with 2, possibly 3 years of eligibility left in his 2025 season. He tallied 29 total tackles, 23 solo, 1 sack, no interceptions on the season, but played under Jim Knowles this past season. A very talented sophomore, a true sophomore at Penn State this past season, and a much needed player out of the portal, as safety is definitely, in my opinion, probably the most important position if you want to improve next season. Some people might say quarterback. I've got some thoughts on that as well towards the end of this video. Just stick around for that. But safety, a much, much needed position that Tennessee needed. Also, at safety. I'm sorry, this is at corner. Kyan Lee from Auburn. He is a junior who's got a year, possibly 2 years of eligibility remaining. This past season for Auburn, tallied 31 total tackles, 25 of them solo. Did have an interception on the season, make it 3 interceptions for his career at Auburn, as he had 2 last season. Once again, corner a position of need with Colton Hood entering the draft, Jermab McCoy entering the draft, and then Ricky Gibson going into the transfer portal. So big pickup there for Tennessee with Kyan Lee. Also picked up Amari Campbell from Penn State, linebacker. This was one of the biggest pickups out of the portal for Tennessee, as Amari has 1 year, possibly 2 years of eligibility remaining as well. He is a true junior this past season. Tallied 103 total tackles at the linebacker position, 64 of those solo, 3 sacks on the season, and a fumble recovery. A guy, once again, that Jim Knowles coached this past season, and a guy that obviously he really wanted out of the portal to fill a position of need as far as Arion Carter entering the draft. Wasn't as concerned with linebacker play this coming season because you are going to be returning Jeremiah Telander, Jaden Perlotti, Edwin Spillman. Those 3 guys right there played pretty good this year. Spillman and Perlotti, obviously both true freshmen, so still a lot to work on there. As far as the depth goes, you got 3 very, very talented freshmen in your 2026 class coming in next season. But once again, the depth is there, but it is unproven depth at this point. You really needed a experienced guy, and this is a guy that Jim Knowles trusts. He's got more than likely 1 year of eligibility left before he will more than likely enter the draft, in which case it's next man up at that point. So it's going to be a better position for Tennessee going into upcoming years. Xavier Gilliam for Penn State as well fills a defensive tackle position that Tennessee desperately needed after several guys hit the portal this season. He is a redshirt freshman, so he's coming to Tennessee with 3 years of eligibility remaining this past season. Didn't receive a ton of playing time, 16 total tackles, 12 solo on the season, did have half a sack and a forced fumble on the year, but a guy that's got a lot of upside for this going to be the Tennessee defense this year, and a guy that Jim Knowles and staff were really talking highly about, former 4-star recruit for Penn State. So excited to see him coming in as well. Tennessee filled a position of need at kicker after Max Gilbert decided to enter the transfer portal. So freshman kicker, looks like redshirt freshman kicker, Cooper Ranvier, who actually has ties to James Wilhoit, has done some work with him in the past. He decided to come to Tennessee this past season at Louisville. He was 21 of 25 on the season. He was perfect from inside of 40, 13 of 13. And from inside 50, he was 19 of 20 on the season. So long as you're pretty much automatic inside 40 and mostly automatic inside 50, we'll take that. 50 plus, he was 2 of 5 on the season. So a really big pickup out of the portal for Tennessee at kicker. The late addition on Saturday, Gavin Freeman, wide receiver from Oklahoma State, decided to transfer to Tennessee. He looks to fill a slot receiver position that was filled by Braylon Staley this year. Obviously, Braylon Staley coming back next season. It's a loaded wide receiver room. We'll see where Gavin Freeman kind of plays in this position group here. Is he going to get much playing time? He did have 481 yards receiving this year on 53 receptions and 4 touchdowns. Looks like he also got some rushes on the season as well, 12 rushes for 48 yards. So probably a versatile guy that Tennessee can find some place to play, but a guy that we'll just see where he plays in this offense. He has 1 year of eligibility remaining, as he was a redshirt junior this past season. But Gavin Freeman from Oklahoma State, and arguably the biggest guy that Tennessee has gotten out of the transfer portal so far this season, true freshman Chaz Coleman. He is a former 5-star. Got 8 tackles this past season, 6 of them solo with a sack, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, but so much upside with Chaz Coleman in a position of need at defensive end as well. He's a 6'4", 240-pound freshman. Will be a sophomore coming in next season to Tennessee, so he has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Super excited to see what this guy can do when he gets on Jim Knowles' staff. So really, really excited to see what Tennessee has out of these commits. And Tennessee is not done yet either. They're still setting up visits. I know they're setting up a visit with Florida State transfer running back as well. They've also still got interest from Jacksonville State's running back. And then a position we hadn't even talked about yet, quarterback. You just had Sam Levitt on campus this past weekend for a visit as well. Set up a visit with Missouri transfer quarterback Bo Pribula. So still lots to do for Tennessee. You filled several positions of need, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I feel like you still need to get another safety, maybe even 2 safeties, because you definitely need depth pieces there as well. I think you're pretty good at corner. If you decide to get one more, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Linebacker, you're good. You could always get another defensive end, defensive tackle, something like that as well. But you also brought in a lot of talent in your recruiting class this year. So defensive side of the ball, you're probably pretty close to being good. Offensive side of the ball, you didn't have a ton of needs to start with. Wide receiver, you picked one up. You didn't necessarily need one. You got plenty of depth there. You do really need a running back as far as depth goes. Offensive line, you can always use more guys there as Offensive line, you need depth. Injuries happen as well. So with guys transferring out, you could definitely use pieces there. Tight end room, you're good. Especially with Ethan Davis, Sean Brame, and Jack Van Dorselayer there next season. That's a good 1-2-3 punch. It's tight end, you're good. Now quarterback. Obviously, for depth, you need another quarterback. You've only got two scholarship quarterbacks on the roster in George McIntyre and Faison Brandon. My opinion, either one of those can go out next season and lead Tennessee's offense and have them win at least 8 games, 9 games. Now, I know what you're going to say. Tennessee's in a position now where that's not good enough. It should be playoffs every single year. And I agree with you. But sometimes 9 wins can do that. Obviously, this past season it did not. I've got a feeling we're going to see a year where 9 wins is going to be good enough to get you into the playoffs. And you look at the last several years for Tennessee before Josh Heupel got there, you were lucky to even get 8 wins. So the fact that we're talking about you should be expecting a playoff appearance every single year, I couldn't have told you that a few years ago that I thought Tennessee would be in this position. I think we are now. So I agree with a lot of the Tennessee haters at this point, or the Tennessee fans that are calling for, Josh Heupel's job, calling for this person's job, that person's job, calling for Danny White, that we need to spend more money. I agree that Tennessee's expectations are there now, but you look at where we've been, and Tennessee this past season was just a couple plays away from being in that position. That Georgia game, you were a missed field goal away. Obviously, other things happened in there. The Alabama game, you don't throw a pick six right before half, and you're right in that ball game with a chance to win. Oklahoma, if you don't turn the ball over 3 different times, you probably win that ball game. And at that point, who knows what happens in the Vanderbilt game? Because the way Tennessee played, obviously Vanderbilt wins that game each time. But if your season has a different trajectory, what happens in that game? So Tennessee was just a few plays away, in my opinion, from being in that position again this year instead of looking at 8-4, 8-5 after the bowl game. But back to the quarterback. I think George McIntyre, Faison Brandon, either one of them can go out and lead this offense. But you do need a depth piece. The problem is the portal is not the place to get a depth piece. No quarterback that enters the portal is looking to go and sit on the bench somewhere behind somebody. So what do you have to do? You have to go out and get a guy that can at least compete for that starting job like Joey Aguilar did last year. Speaking of Joey Aguilar, it's still not off the table that he's not going to come back next season. And if he does, I think that's Tennessee's best option. It would be year number 2 in the program for Joey Aguilar. Found out that he was actually dealing with a benign tumor in his arm for the last month of the season as well, causing a lot of pain, which makes a lot of sense for some of the more inaccurate passes, especially some of the deep balls as well towards the end of the season. But you get him in a second year in the system with a new defense out there, with all this talent coming back on offense. I think that's best case scenario. And you're looking at another season similar to 2022, where Hendon Hooker in the second year of the offense turned out to be the number 1 offense in the country. You're looking at a possible playoff berth again. You're looking at a team that could compete next season. That's best case scenario for Tennessee. Obviously, with the NCAA moving the way they are, you can't bank on that. So where does Tennessee go? Unlikely candidate, in my opinion, Sam Leavitt decided to visit Knoxville. Extended his visit, by the way. Now, granted, some of that could be because Miami was still in the playoffs. That was his next destination afterwards. But Sam Leavitt, he's on the table for Tennessee going into next season as well. A very talented quarterback that would come in with, I believe, 2 years of eligibility. But odds are, if he has a good season, would enter the draft after next season. He is coming off of an ankle injury as well, but it's a very talented quarterback that Tennessee could possibly get. Obviously, going to be a pretty hefty price tag in NIL for him to come in. Bo Pribula from Missouri. A lot of fans not too happy about this one here. Think that we could get somebody better, but Bo Pribula did not do that bad this season. He was injured as well this season, but really had decent stats on the season whenever he played for Missouri. Just Missouri's offense a little bit down from where it has been over the last couple of seasons. So, still a lot there for Tennessee. We'll see over the next couple of days what ends up happening, but Tennessee really has been on fire the last several days, the last week in the transfer portal. So stay tuned to the Vol Fanatics Sports updates. Stay tuned to the Vol Fanatics Show for any other transfer portal updates to come. Go Vols, everybody.